It began like any other Tuesday. The morning of September 11, 2001, dawned bright and clear over the bustling cities of America's East Coast. In New York City, people were just starting their workday, grabbing their morning chai, and rushing into the towering buildings of the World Trade Center. These massive twin skyscrapers stood as proud symbols of America's strength and its importance in the world. School children were settling into their classrooms, and across the country, life was moving at its usual predictable pace. No one could have imagined that in just a few short moments the world they knew would be shattered, and the clear blue sky would become a canvas for unimaginable terror and tragedy. The first sign that something was terribly wrong came at 8:46 a.m. American Airlines Flight 11, a passenger jet that had been hijacked by terrorists, slammed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. At first, many people on the ground thought it was a terrible accident, perhaps a small plane that had lost control. But then, just 17 minutes later at 9:03 a.m., a second hijacked plane, United Airlines Flight 175, crashed into the South Tower. At that moment, all confusion disappeared, replaced by the chilling realization that this was not an accident. This was a deliberate, coordinated attack aimed at the very heart of America. The horror was far from over. While the world watched the terrifying scenes from New York, another attack was unfolding. At 9:37 a.m., American Airlines Flight 77 was crashed into the Pentagon, the headquarters of the United States Department of Defense in Arlington, Virginia, just outside Washington, D.C. A massive section of the powerful building collapsed in a fiery explosion. A fourth plane, United Airlines Flight 93, had also been hijacked. It was flying towards Washington, D.C., with its likely target being another iconic American symbol, possibly the U.S. Capitol building or the White House. This plane, however, would never reach its intended destination. On board Flight 93, the passengers and crew learned about the other attacks through phone calls with their loved ones. Realizing the terrorists' deadly plan, they made a brave and selfless decision to fight back. Their struggle in the cockpit forced the hijackers to crash the plane into a field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, at 10:03 a.m. These ordinary people became heroes, sacrificing their own lives to prevent an even greater catastrophe. Their courageous actions saved countless others on the ground. Meanwhile, in New York, the intense fires caused by the plane crashes weakened the steel structures of the Twin Towers, leading to their complete collapse, forever changing the city's famous skyline. The impact of the attacks was immediate and devastating. The loss of life was staggering on a scale that was difficult for anyone to even comprehend. In total, 2,977 innocent people were killed, not including the 19 terrorists who carried out the attacks. These victims came from all walks of life, and from over 77 different countries, making it a truly global tragedy. At the World Trade Center site, 2,606 people lost their lives, including office workers, visitors, and people attending conferences. The dead also included all 246 passengers and crew members aboard the 4 hijacked planes and 125 military and civilian personnel at the Pentagon. Among the victims were 441 first responders in New York City, the brave firefighters, police officers, and paramedics who rushed into the burning towers to save others without a moment's hesitation for their own safety. They ran towards the danger when everyone else was running away, climbing flights of stairs with heavy equipment trying to rescue those trapped above. Many of them were lost when the towers collapsed, making the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty. The entire world mourned these heroes, whose courage became a powerful symbol of humanity's best qualities in the face of unspeakable evil and hatred. Beyond the numbers, the attacks left deep and lasting emotional scars on people everywhere. The sense of safety and security that many people had taken for granted was completely destroyed. Fear and uncertainty became a part of daily life. For weeks and months after the attacks, the scenes of the planes hitting the towers and the buildings falling were played over and over again on television screens around the world. People felt a profound sense of vulnerability, realizing that such terrible things could happen anywhere, at any time. This collective trauma brought people together in grief, but it also sowed seeds of suspicion and anxiety that would linger for many years. The grief was felt not just in America, but across the entire globe. World leaders expressed their condolences and solidarity, and ordinary citizens from different countries held vigils and moments of silence to honor the victims. The tragedy highlighted how interconnected our world had become. The attacks were on American soil, but the victims were international, and the shockwaves were felt in every corner of the planet. For those who lost family members and friends, the pain was personal and immense. Thousands of children were left without a parent, and countless families were changed forever, left to navigate a future filled with sorrow and the gaping absence of their loved ones. The attacks of 9/11 fundamentally changed the way we travel and our approach to national security. Before that day, airport security was much more relaxed. You could arrive at the airport just a short while before your flight, and your family could walk with you all the way to the boarding gate. But after 9/11, that all changed almost overnight. Airports around the world implemented strict new security measures to prevent such a tragedy from ever happening again. Suddenly, long queues, detailed baggage checks and full-body scanners became a normal part of the air travel experience for everyone, a constant reminder of the day that security became a top global priority. In the United States, a whole new government agency was created to handle this massive task, the Transportation Security Administration, or TSA. The TSA took over security at all U.S. airports, introducing new rules like media group, TSA agent checking liquids at security, signs displaying liquid limits at airport at stock at distribute_equally, limits on liquids in carry-on luggage, the requirement to remove shoes and laptops for screening, and the installation of reinforced cockpit doors on airplanes. These changes were not just in America. Countries all over the world adopted similar stringent protocols. The goal was to make it impossible for terrorists to ever again use commercial airplanes as weapons, transforming the simple act of flying into a highly regulated and monitored process. The focus on security went far beyond airports. The attacks spurred the creation of new government departments and intelligence agencies dedicated to preventing terrorism. In the U.S., the Department of Homeland Security was established, a massive organization that brought together 22 different federal agencies to better coordinate the protection of the country from various threats. This event also changed the career paths of many individuals. Inspired by a desire to help and protect their country, many young people chose to pursue jobs in media group, recruits and intelligence training, young officers in counterterrorism class at stock at distribute_equally, law enforcement, intelligence, and counterterrorism, fields that saw a massive surge in importance and resources after the attacks. This new era of vigilance also led to the creation of specialized research centers, like the National Counterterrorism Innovation, Technology, and Education Center, or NCITE. These organizations bring together experts, academics, and government officials to study the roots of violent extremism and develop strategies to stop it. They analyze media group, researchers analyzing terrorist networks, intelligence analysts studying documents at stock at distribute_equally, how terrorist groups form, how they recruit members, and what makes them tick, all in an effort to stay one step ahead of future threats. The world had learned a hard lesson. Protecting citizens now required a deep, ongoing understanding of the enemy, and a commitment to global cooperation to fight a threat that knew no borders. In the years since the attacks, a great deal of effort has been made to remember the victims and honor the heroes of that day. At the site where the Twin Towers once stood in New York City, now known as Ground Zero, the National September 11 Memorial and Museum stands as a powerful and moving tribute. The memorial features two enormous reflecting pools set within the footprints of the original towers. The names of every person who died in the 2001 and 1993 attacks are inscribed in bronze around the edges of the pools. It is a quiet, solemn place where millions of visitors from around the world come to pay their respects and reflect on the events of that day. Rebuilding has also been a crucial part of the healing process. In New York, rising from the ashes of Ground Zero is the magnificent One World Trade Center, also known as the Freedom Tower. It stands at a symbolic height of 1,776 feet, a number representing the year of America's Declaration of Independence, sending a clear message of resilience, hope, and defiance in the face of terror. At the Pentagon, the section of the building that was destroyed was rebuilt in less than a year. In Shanksville, Pennsylvania, a beautiful and peaceful memorial now marks the spot where Flight 93 crashed, honoring the brave passengers and crew who gave their lives. Remembering 9/11 is important not just for those who were directly affected, but for everyone. For a generation of young people born after 2001, the attacks are a part of history, something they learn about in books and classrooms. It is crucial that we continue to tell the story of what happened in clear and simple language, not to create fear, but to foster understanding and empathy. By learning about the innocent lives that were lost and the incredible bravery that was shown, we ensure that the lessons of that day are never forgotten. It teaches us about the consequences of hatred and the importance of working towards a more peaceful and tolerant world. Ultimately, remembering 9/11 is about honoring the past while looking towards the future. It reminds us of the fragility of peace and the importance of standing together as a global community against violence and extremism. The attacks were meant to break our spirit, to divide us and fill us with hate. But in the end, they revealed the incredible strength of the human spirit, the capacity for compassion, unity, and courage even in the darkest of times. By learning from this profound tragedy, we can strive to build a safer, more understanding world for future generations, ensuring that the light of hope always shines brighter than the darkness of hate.